Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. We are back with an incredible daily race at Spa, which this week has dynamic weather, which means it might rain, it might not rain, it can be dry. And this one was actually a dry race that we're going to show you. I'm starting from P5. We've got some incredibly fast drivers in this lobby, as you could see at the start screen there. Some very fast drivers racing in this top split daily race. There is a little bit of rain on the radar at the start, but that isn't going to cause that too much of an issue. I think it's already been and gone. It's not going to interfere with this race at the start. So starting from P5, let's see where we can get to in this daily race C. If you do enjoy this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, let me know in the comment section what you thought about this race. So as you can see there, I'm using the Silvia for this race. The Silvia is probably the best all-round car for this week's daily race C. There is quite a few different cars that you can actually get away with using in this race, which is making it a little bit more interesting than it normally is in Group 4. So straight away, first things first, getting in that slipstream and just working our way through this first few corners flat out all the way up here and just trying to get a slipstream. Didn't actually hook that up very well and actually lost a bit of the slip. You can see the car behind us is actually closer to me than I am to P4. So we're going to have to stay in the slipstream and hope there's not too much battling and try and see if we can find a way past some of these drivers in front. We want to try and get ourselves into a podium position at least in this race. A lot of battling going on at the front there. You can see 2x2 pretty much for the top four there, and that's going to allow me to get a little bit closer to rivs in front of us. So into the braking zone here, make sure we brake nice and early when we're this close to them up ahead. We don't want to go into the back of them. And you can see that weather on the radar not really causing an issue, been and gone. That's not really rain anyway. When it's that light colour there, you don't need to worry. But we have had some incredible races this week with some really heavy rainfall in this. I'm going to make a separate video with some of them races in there, so hopefully you'll enjoy some of them. Some really funny and some really entertaining stuff going on in some of the races we've had this week on this daily race C. So following through behind Rivs, still in P5 at the moment, not really got any positions gained, and you can see Rivs is battling with P3 in that McLaren, and the McLaren is actually very close to P2. Aura actually looks like he's starting to build a little bit of a gap out there in P1, also in the Silvia, and starting to build a bit of a gap to himself and P2. So getting himself some fresh air, pulling away and breaking that slipstream, which is going to be really important in this race. But you can see getting incredibly close in this battle that we're in. We're going to actually have a little look up the left hand side here, see if we've got the momentum, and luckily P3 pulls to the left there and gives himself a little bit of slipstream, so we can actually go alongside Rivs here and take the inside line into this fast left hand corner. It looks like Rivs backs out a little bit there, just clips the back of our car slightly on the exit, but luckily he's back on the track and he's on our right hand side now. So up into P4, and now we're going to push on and see if we can get ourselves into a podium. As McLaren there, little nudge on the side of P2. They're going to go a little bit sideways on the exit there. That gives me the run, and we're up to P3 now, just pulling away from that McLaren and hopefully going to be able to defend the inside. So just going to go to the right hand side. We're not going to go for a move on P2. It's just to cover the inside ever so slightly there, just so that there's no thoughts of going for a move up the inside. So into the podium position, and now we're going to have the slipstream on P2. We're in actually the perfect position here. 3.5 temps. We're going to get the slipstream all the way down the hill, and then we're going to be really close for the uphill part. So we've got to try and make sure we get this corner right. Don't understeer off the track. Get it onto the curb. Power our way over the top of the hill, and we've actually done that pretty nicely. And we've got a nice amount of slipstream here to go to the left-hand side and see if we can get this overtake done. So to the left-hand side, can we go around the outside? We've got the definite run on this straight, and it looks like we're going to be able to brake just about late enough here and hold onto that P2. So managing to do that into the apex and up into P2. So a great start in this daily race C from P5 to P2 in just over one lap. Brilliant start there, and we've just got Aura there 3 seconds ahead though. That's a lot of time to try and make up. Let's see what happens. As we can see, a lot of battling still going on behind us. You can see how close the racing is, and this is the great thing about this week's daily race C. The racing is super close, super intense. Even when there's no rain, there's some great battling going on, and when the rain comes, it can just unleash all kinds of chaos in this daily race, which you're going to see in another video that we'll be bringing to the channel. So make sure, like I say, get subscribed, hit that notification bell, because we've got some crazy races to upload from this daily race C that we've done this week. We've done so much racing here because I'm absolutely loving this race. Dynamic weather just really does bring an element to it, and it's great that there is a lot of variability in the weather as well. We've had some real heavy rain in some races. We've had some light rain showers. It seems to have got the the ratio quite well done again, I think, in my view. I believe too much rain would have got boring. They've got the ratio pretty much perfect from the races we've done so far. So we look behind, and P3 runs a little bit wide off the curb there. That's going to lose him a lot of momentum, and that's going to give me the ability to get just outside the slipstream range. So good for myself. Now we can concentrate on the corners. We don't have to worry about defending, and we can see if we can get any closer to Aura up ahead there. You can see the gap still around 2.9 to 3 seconds, so not losing anything, not really gaining much in terms of time. Into the final chicane now, try and get it slowed down, use the curb, rotate with first gear, back up to second gear, and over the line. And we're going to go over the line for a reasonably solid lap here. It's going to be a 2 minute 28.8 there, so fastest lap of the race so far on lap 3, not bad. And now, sorry, lap 2 that was, and now we're going to see if we can catch up to Aura. So you can see the gap at the moment, he's gradually gaining in some areas, we're gaining in other areas. It seems fairly close. Skipping ahead a little bit further on lap 3, you can see there that Aura 3 seconds ahead, still 2.9. However, he runs a little bit wide on the exit there. Just as we come out the exit, you can see Aura just up ahead there, losing a lot of time, and he's lost a second already, and he's going to lose more time because dirty tyres, he can't take the speed through this fast left-hand corner because it will just understeer off the track, and this might just give us the opportunity to creep into that slipstream. So heavy on the brakes here, try and get as close as we can. He should still have a little bit of a problem with grip out of that car because the dirty tyres now in this game tend to last a little bit longer, I think, since the last update with the new physics. It feels like you feel the understeer for quite a while. So now, under a second to P1, the race is now on for the battle for P1 in this race. There was no chance before, but that little mistake from Aura there has given us a little bit of a slight chance of getting that slipstream and hanging with him and maybe trying to push on for a win in this daily race C. And you can see also the weather's completely cleared up. It's quite clear now. Doesn't look like there's going to be much chance of rain in this race. At the moment it all looks fairly static, so we should be okay just to battle this out, myself and Aura, all the way to the finish. You can see we're in the slipstream, and this is going to be very intense. We're going to have to drive almost perfectly. When you've got a driver as fast as Aura in front of you, Aura's been away from the game for a while though, so he is still picking up a bit of his pace. Probably a little bit of temp here and a little mistake here and there that he's going to be still doing. But yeah, Aura's a great driver, so to be able to stay close to him, we're going to have to drive extremely well in this Silvia. And yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the Silvia, I have to say. It's not my favourite car to drive. However, it does seem very good at this track. It's a certain way you've got to drive it. It's almost four-wheel drive, the way you've got to drive it with the traction out of this thing. You've got to think of it as a four-wheel drive car. But let's see if we can get closer, a little bit closer out there. We're down to 7 temps, picking up that slipstream, and then into this fast corner. You can see just trying to carry the momentum through it. You can see getting it left-hand side to just skim that apex, and then on the throttle as early as we can through there just to try and carry the speed out the exit. You can see now we've pulled away quite a bit to P3, so that gap is up to 3 seconds. So in terms of worrying about the podium, we should be safe as on P2 as long as we don't make any big mistakes in this race. Just hold on to P2 and try and see if we can push on to try and get a win in this race. We've got just over 4 laps to try and get this done. There is pretty much 2 overtaking positions really during the course of this lap that are proper. You can obviously do overtaking positions, but the main ones at the end of this straight, and obviously at the end of the start, after you start the lap at the top of the hill on that straight going into the chicane, is the next overtaking opportunities. There are other areas that you can get it done if people make mistakes, but these are the 2 main ones. But you can see we're a little bit too far back at this point. We're not going to be in any position to go for a move here. We're 7 temps back. It's all about just keeping it smooth. So skipping ahead to lap 5 though, and you can see we are definitely a little bit closer now. We're 6 temps behind and just gradually getting closer. And this is the advantage of the slipstream. The slipstream definitely gains you time. And in Group 4, the knock-on effect of being behind someone is nowhere near what it's like in Group 3 and Group 2. You can actually follow fairly easily. You still feel it in the fast corners, I have to say. Even in Group 4, you can feel that loss of aero in the really fast corners. So maybe what we should be doing is, I think PD should basically be trying to make Group 3 as easy as is in Group 4 to follow, and then make Group 2 like Group 3, and just have a knock-on effect like that, so that we can have some better racing in Group 3, etc. And maybe Group 4 should be even easier than this in reality, because these are very low aero cars. These are just basically road cars with a little, probably under-tuned some of these in Group 4. So yeah, I think they should be a little bit easier to follow maybe, even than what they currently are. But yeah, it is easy to follow. You can stay in the slipstream, and slipstream will make you faster, as you can see there, 28.4. That is pretty much because of Aura. I have to be honest, I don't think that's my pace. That is because we're in the slipstream and we're being dragged forward. As I think my fastest lap I've done all week in solo without slipstream to 28.6, so I don't think I could get a 28.4 without being in some form of slipstream. It'd have to be a very, very good lap for me myself to get a 28.4 without being in the slip. You can see Aura trying to break the slipstream there, so we know that we're getting closer. We're down to 3 tenths behind him, but we're going to be a bit too far back yet again. Here you can see into the braking zone, not really close enough to go for a move there, getting very close in the braking zone, but down to 2 tenths. But we're going to lose a little bit as we go through these corners, as we were slightly late onto the brakes. So you can see we're just gradually trying to reel him in, get him into a position where we can think about going for a move. As we look at that replay camera again, you can see how close this is. You can see we're following as close as we can, really getting on the throttle, trying to make sure that we're opening up any opportunities for movers, or a big slide through that corner. Looks amazing on that replay camera. Great little save there from Aura as we're putting him under pressure, and now into this fast left hand corner. You can see just how close this actually is. We are right on the bumper of Aura, and this is why I love Gran Turismo. Races like this, you don't need 10 cars in a battle to make it a great race. 2 cars can make a great race on Gran Turismo, and this is what this is. Brilliant clean racing, very close, very fast pace at the moment. This pace at the moment is really intense. You can see 28.4s, 28.6s constantly, so very, very difficult to stay with him and not make mistakes when it's like this, because you're trying to push as aggressively as you can into this right hand corner. Again, you can see trying to get that slip here. This is an overtaking opportunity. We're actually close-ish here. We can get this gap down to around 2 tenths if we get this corner up here right for the braking zone. And sometimes you can go for a move if you're close enough. But you can see as we come through here, let's see what we do this corner, like trying to turn in early, hooking it up reasonably well, but not perfectly on the throttle there. Could have been a little bit earlier on the throttle, and that just puts us out of the range to go for a move. So 2 more laps to try and find a way into P1. This is going to really come down to the end. You can just tell the way this race is going. We're gradually getting closer every now and then in certain areas, but it's all about building the momentum. You've just got to keep pushing until you're within that vital zone. Once you're within 3 tenths of the car in front, the slipstream becomes really, really strong in Group 4. Around 6 tenths, it's not amazing, but it's definitely strong enough to get you close. As we both make a mistake on the exit there. I think Aura's mistake on the exit was a little bit worse. My entry was worse, but then got a slightly better pull out of the corner, and now the slipstream is dragging us forward. You can see under half a second. That's going to help me out now on this uphill section, and you can see the delta going closer and closer. Now under 4 tenths. He's going to go to the left and then over to the right. He's trying to break that slipstream. We're definitely going to be close here. Can we think about going for a move into this corner? This is the other overtaking position. He's gone back to the racing line. He knows that we're a little bit too far back. We have a little look up the inside, but not really on there. And just about managed to slow the car down into the apex without hitting Aura. That was incredibly close. But again, great racing here. No contact so far. Brilliant close racing. And again, you can see in that bottom right hand corner on the replay camera just how close this is into the braking zones. You've got to be making sure you can't be too late on the brakes, because 1 foot extra on the brake could equal me hitting the back of Aura in front of us. You've got to be extremely careful and just try and keep that throttle down on these exits to stay as close as possible. We've got possibly 3 more overtaking opportunities on this track now. We've got the end of this lap and then the 2 more on the final lap. Can we find the way past him? Keeping the pressure on here, under 3 tenths. That's really close actually for this part of the track. Now we've got to try and keep us close all the way through this final sector onto the back straight. Aura actually driving really, really well at the moment. Not really making mistakes at this stage. He made that little mistake earlier on that gave us a slipstream, but since then, been fairly solid, keeping the car in the right place and getting on the throttle early enough to make it really difficult to get that slipstream and go for a pass. So again, good exit from Aura there. You can see building that gap back up to 4 tenths. We get a reasonable run through there. Ran a little bit wide, but now we're going to get that slipstream and build the way all the way back up to the rear of Aura and try and see if we can go for a move into that final chicane. So again, slipstream all the way through here. Be careful on this corner. Very difficult corner to get absolutely perfect, because you can't do it 100% flat out, especially when following someone. It's a little bit too tricky, but just trying to carry enough speed to have a look up here. And again, a little bit too far behind, but we are very, very close now for the main straight. Can we think about going for a move? If we can stay within 4 tenths of him for the start, you can see Aura actually going defensive there, thinking about trying to break that slipstream because he knows that we're getting very, very close. 3 tenths behind into the final corner. Try and make sure we get a good exit here. Second gear on the throttle. 4/10 behind. You can see weaving to the right. He's trying to break that slip. He knows that we're close. This is going to be very, very interesting now as we gain that speed from following behind Aura and up into the braking zone. So let's see, up the hill, can we stay close? Flat out, just about keeping it in the track. And you can see Aura trying to break that slip. 2 attempts now. This is going to be incredibly close. He's going to have to stay to the right hand side because we've got the slipstream all the way behind him. We're going to possibly be able to go down the left hand side and try and hang one round the outside. We're going to go for it round the outside, hanging it round the outside, slowing it down, using second gear there to try and rotate the car, and both of us going side by side all the way through this section. Brilliant driving. We're going to try and do an undercut there. We go for the undercut. He covers it off. A little bit of contact, but I don't think he realised we had that much momentum. And now we're going to see if we can go back around the outside there. And we're not going to be able to do it. So close to getting ourselves into the lead of this race. So again, can we find another way past? We've got one more opportunity pretty much at the end of the lap. What we need to make sure we do now is stay as close as possible through the rest of this lap. So again, 3 attempts behind into this fast left hand corner, down to 4th gear, holding that apex onto the throttle as early as we can. Aura getting quite a good exit there. We also get a very good exit there. And now into the next braking zone, using that 50 board as a reference, braking just before the 50 board, down to 3rd gear. Again, getting the car tucked into the curb. Again, onto this corner, get it tucked into the curb, on the throttle as early as possible. Powering our way out into the next braking zone, braking just before the curb on the left there, down to 3rd gear. Waiting for that throttle, be very patient there, onto the throttle, and we get quite a good drive off this corner, down up into 4th gear, skimming the bollard on the right, using the curb on the left, and you can see Aura knows we've got that slipstream. This is going to be incredibly close into the braking zone. We've got to try and make sure that we hook this left-hand corner up, which is very, very difficult when you're following right behind someone. So in the slipstream, can we send it into this final corner for a move? 1/10 behind him. We're going to have a look down the right hand side. Aura's going to leave the door open enough there. We're going to brake late, down to 2nd gear, down to 1st gear, rotate it. Now I see him going a little bit deep, so we go for a wider line, tuck up underneath, and we get the perfect drive off the exit. And can't believe this actually happened. We got ourselves into the lead on the final corner of the race. What a battle that was, I have to say. If you haven't already smashed that like button, give it a like. It really does help the channel out. Subscribe to the channel, and hopefully you'll enjoy some of the future videos we have to upload on the channel as well. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you all soon for more videos and more live streams. Bye, everyone.